Silhouette, dark figure on it.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Mexico. I really wanted to do an at-home hotel room workout while I was here. I didn't want to completely take a break from YouTube because I'm just not ready for that. YouTube is a big part of my life, so I still filmed while I was here, and I really hope that you enjoy this workout. It is something that you can do basically anywhere as long as you have a resistance band. Here I'm going to be showing you that I actually had 2 resistance bands on me, and that's all that I brought in terms of workout equipment to Mexico. Let me know down below if you like this really like casual voiceover. I hope it feels like I'm right there in wherever you're watching this, right there with you. And at the end, I'm gonna also touch on how I've been staying on track while I've been here. This is the last day that I'm here, so I leave tomorrow, sadly. But you can see, like, I'm not like, you know, I'm still relatively okay in terms of my physique. I didn't really go crazy, so I'll talk about all of that at the end. But first, with the workout. Gonna still keep it casual, but I do have a few notes here, so it's not super unorganized. I had a heavy resistance band that is very difficult to stretch. It also has an elastic grippy part in it. And I also had a lighter resistance band with me that I used for an exercise that also has like the grippy component in it. I got both of these from Slingshot, and I've been using their bands forever. I always link them down below. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, so I just like their equipment. But yeah, check them out if you're interested in getting a resistance band. With the first exercise, I actually use the heavy resistance band, and I start off with a squat bouncer. And the reason that I start off with this one is because it is like a little bit of like a cardio exercise, because you are bouncing at like a pretty high rate, and it gets your blood flowing. It also increases your internal temperature, which is like the main purpose of a warm-up. So you're essentially warming up. You're also engaging your glutes, what I like to call a pre-activation exercise. So it kind of turns your glutes on for the subsequent exercises, because some people have a difficult time doing some exercises and they may not feel their glutes. The main thing that I'd like to stress, you're gonna focus on driving your knees out as you squat. And you'll realize that because the dominating force is the work that you're doing to push your knees out, that is going to take over any other muscle during this exercise. So you're really just gonna feel it solely, maybe slightly in your quads because it is a squat, but like mostly in your glutes, and it's really gonna turn them on and get them ready for the next exercises that we're going to be doing. So the next thing that I did was a single leg hip bridge, which I just like laid a towel on the floor because in this hotel, the floor was tile and it was really cold. So I laid a towel on the floor. I put my foot up on this couch. If you don't have like a couch that's like a good enough height, or your hotel room doesn't have anything that is gonna work for that, you can also use a chair. Make sure that the chair pushes up against like a wall or something so it doesn't move. A foot to maybe like 18 inches off the ground. This one was pretty high. Then I jumped into a banded hip thrust. You can do with just your feet, just flat on the ground, and you can just hip thrust with the band, really driving your knees out. That's really going to engage your glutes. But you can also do it with your feet up on, then just, you can put them on the ground, but also if you do have something to raise them up, then it will make it a bit more challenging. Make sure you're focusing on driving out with your knees. So drive out with your knees, contract your glutes, and drive up with your hips, and then go down and then drive up with your hips as strong as you can, like squeezing really hard at the top, and you're really gonna feel it in your butt. It's a good one. Then I jumped into a side clam abduction, and I've seen different variations of this exercise. I think some people feel it in different ways. Like some people can feel it with like their feet connected and they're just like doing that clam action situation, but it's kind of hard for me to feel it. So I jumped down to the lighter resistance band on this one because the heavy one, I couldn't even open my legs. With the lighter resistance band, I just open my legs and drive my knee out completely. Like you can see that my feet aren't touching each other at all, but that is just the way that I feel it in the middle of my glutes. So do it however you feel it when you're doing it. Really feel that abduction driving force just upwards, and then go back down, and then drive it back up, and then go back down, and then of course flip over and then do the other side. All right, and then from there, I ditched the resistance band and I started doing some frog pumps, and frog pumps are an amazing glute exercise. It is solely your glutes. It's also a really great exercise to do at home because no one can see you. If you feel a little bit embarrassed to do this in the gym, that's totally fine. So try to monopolize on doing it at home. You can also put a weight on your hips to make it a little bit more difficult, but I was just doing, my glutes were already working very hard in this exercise, so I was just doing it without any weight or anything. And if you don't have any weights on hand, then that's okay. Just make sure that your feet are together facing each other, and then your knees are gonna flare out just like a frog. And you're just going to pump up by pushing your feet down and lifting your hips up, and you're gonna feel that really strong contraction in your glutes. And each time you're just gonna really thrust up and contract really hard and then go back down, thrust up and contract really hard and then go back down. It is a very short range of motion, so you should thrust up as hard as you can because you don't have to, the distance is short travel. The last and final glute exercise of the workout is going to be a lateral band walk, which is something that you can do even in a limited space. You don't have to like travel long distances back and forth because you can just go side to side. And the main thing that I want to stress in this exercise is that not only do you want to drive out with the leading leg, you also want to, with the non-leading leg, to push in the direction that you're going. So push towards the side that you're going, and then also drive with the leading leg, like really abduct your glutes and contract them to make them push you to one side and then the other. But also don't let your non-leading leg just do nothing. Like make sure you're driving yourself into that opposite direction. This is also a really good exercise as opposed to like the squat bouncer as a pre-activation exercise. So this is another exercise that'll really get your glutes firing, that'll really get your glutes to wake up. But this one's essentially going to act as like the finisher exercise. So the finishing pumper exercise, staying as crouched and as low as you possibly can, because then you're gonna really feel that burn in your glutes. You should, by this point, feel a lot of fatigue and metabolic stress buildup in your glutes at this point. So the final exercise that I wanted to do was I just wanted to throw in a little bit of abs in there because abs are just easy to do wherever you are. My favorite thing to do, especially like at home, if I don't have any gym equipment or anything like that, I just like to do leg raises. Holding on to something is helpful if you're not as advanced with abdominal strength. So you can hold on to anything, chair, a bed, furniture, whatever, and lift your legs up. And you can also get some oblique action in there by doing side leg raises, which I am showing you here. But if you are more advanced, try them without holding on to anything. It will make it a little bit more challenging. You're gonna feel that burn in your abs, and that is just what I finish off the workout with. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you liked me down in the corner here, being able to see my face. So the last thing I wanted to touch on was how I was staying on track while I was here. All right guys, so this is future Stephanie, and this was urgent enough for me to interrupt the video. This video is going to be going up on May 14th, which is the day that something very, very exciting is happening. PEScience is releasing protein bars. They have two flavors, white chocolate raspberry and chocolate peanut butter. It has a little bit of crunch in it. It's delicious. It has a layer of chocolate on the bottom, and then the white chocolate raspberry. It has a layer of white chocolate on the bottom, bits of raspberry. So good. Okay, back to the video. How I was staying on track while I was here. So I stayed here a total of 6 days, 6 days is a long time, and it can make or break a diet, whether or not you are cutting, or if you are bulking, this is like the best place to be, honestly. Like you can do some serious damage at a buffet. But at my resort, I had an all-you-can-eat buffet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, in addition to like 5 different a la carte restaurants. They were all here on the resort. This resort is enormous. It was amazing to have all of these like food options at the tips of your fingers, but it was also just almost too easy to overeat if you were just not being mindful of your food consumption. I came here with the thought in mind that I wasn't gonna restrict myself at all. I was just going to have like a couple of rules in place just to make sure that I didn't completely go completely off the rails. The few things that I really focused on was that every single time I went to the buffet, I focused on like lower calorie, voluminous foods, at least for the first plate, because you guys know me and my appetite. I ate at least 3 plates of food at every meal. I know, I have a big appetite. Starting off with like lower calorie, like a salad or something like that, just to start getting that feeling of fullness. Because I do have such a high capacity and I have the ability to eat a lot of food, it takes a lot for me to feel full. I'll show you some examples of what my plates were looking like right now. But I was also not only just getting like straight grilled chicken, I was also tasting like some of the cuisine that they had there here and there, just because like I didn't want to over restrict. I wanted to try new types of food. The focus and the goal was to feel full, feel satisfied, eat yummy food, but not go completely off the rails. So I limited to like small bits of just tasting more higher calorie foods, as well as like getting a little bit of dessert, but then they had the most amazing display of fresh fruit at every single breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I would get fruit that would be like my dessert, and I would just focus on veggies and lean protein. Number two most important thing that I did was that Jeff and I were extremely active. I was looking at my Fitbit app because I do wear a Fitbit. You guys know I track my steps. On a normal day, I aim to hit 10,000 steps a day. So that kind of keeps my sedentary life pretty active. But while I was here, we were averaging around like 15 to 17,000 steps a day. Like I said, this resort is enormous, which actually works in your favor because you walk around a ton. So Jeff and I were literally walking, doing like kilometers and kilometers of walking. Yeah. We walked a lot. We were really trying to stay as active as possible. You'll be able to enjoy the best of both worlds of eating all the food and feeling good because you are being active, and it gets you outside as well. The last thing is that the excursion that we did book was a very active excursion. So we actually went to go see the Mayan ruins in Koba, which is a city nearby. It was amazing, it was beautiful, and we got an opportunity to actually climb the temple, so that was pretty active. We also rode around on bicycles or bicicletas. That was a lot of fun, and we were also of course just walking around a lot of the ancient ruin sites. Stay active around the resort. Opt to not take a trolley or whatever kind of mode of transportation they have for the resort. Try to just walk, and it'll make you feel good too. Jeff and I really enjoy walking. We also get some of the best conversations in our relationship. We do a lot of connecting that way when we go on walks together. So if you're in a relationship, I highly recommend going on walks with your significant other. You can really just, there's nothing you can do other than just talk to each other. This is turning into some relationship advice. I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm just saying that Jeff and I have amazing talks on our walks, so I highly recommend it if you're in a relationship. Go on a walk with your significant other. So that's just a little bit of my 2 cents. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me in my hotel room in Mexico. What's up? So after this, Jeff and I are actually going to be back in Florida for a little while before we head back to Canada for the rest of the summer. So see you guys in Florida. What is going on, guys? I made it back safely from Mexico, and I'm back in my Florida home. Like I said, Jeff and I are going to be here for the next couple of weeks before we head back to Canada and spend the rest of the summer in Canada, which is beautiful. So I'm really excited about that. And another quick announcement is that I'm actually going to South Florida next weekend to have another epic cheat day with Livia, and I am so excited. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already to get an early sneak peek on the day, and you can follow us throughout the day. It's going to be May 19th, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. If you're unfamiliar with Audible, it is an online audiobook service that has an unmatched selection for audiobooks, and I think I've been personally using it now for over 3 years, and I've listened to so many books, whether it be while I'm traveling or just driving around town. And one book that I'm currently loving at the moment is Building a Better Vocabulary by The Great Courses. And I strongly believe that in any environment, whether it be professional, academic, or just my everyday life, that having a strong vocabulary is integral to the way that I communicate information. And Audible has been kind enough to offer my subscribers a free 30-day trial by going to audible.com/Steph Buttermore, or text Steph Buttermore to 500-500 to get your free month. And I'd highly recommend Audible to my very educated audience if you're not already using it. So that is going to conclude this video. I really hope that you liked it. Please like the video if you liked it. Comment down below if you want more at home or travel friendly workouts from me, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.